All right, welcome everybody in. Sorry, microphone had a little issue at the beginning. My name's Brian. Welcome to the theme workshop. Welcome in. These are exciting times. Welcome Dr. Suicide and everybody else in the chat today. You're off work for the first time in months. How you doing, Dave? Very exciting to be streaming today with you guys. And very exciting the times with LaunchBox and the community theme creator. Some really cool stuff is coming and have come already, and I wanted to share you guys exactly what that means to you, the theme creator or the person wanting to create themes in either LaunchBox or BigBox. So I'm going to go over all of that stuff first, talk about what is actually coming, what is here, what you can do with it. And then we'll move on. We'll see how far we get from there. Yeah. And Dr. Suicide. We're hoping that it's a good break that you have from work today. So let's just jump right in, because I do feel that it might turn out to be quite a bit. So let's start with LaunchBox. LaunchBox 11.7 is coming out very soon. If you're on the beta, then you'll know exactly what is coming. But if you're not, here's a little sneak peek on what you can expect in 11.7, which is due out most likely next week. There you go. You work in theater? That's pretty cool. And you taking some time. Did I say 12.7? I said 11.7. Yeah, so this is for the 12.7 release, which is coming next week. Let's see what you get. So basically the main feature as far as theme creators is, or as far as for users, is a brand new looking game details section here. So if I click on any one of these games, hopefully it has data in my test build here. It does. You'll see that the game details looks new. But what does that mean to you, the theme creator? It basically means we tried very, very hard to make these elements transferable to your custom themes and make them easily customizable, so that you can do something with them if you want. You can make them fit your theme. The biggest elements, the changes that you'll see that you can add to your LaunchBox themes, is this new carousel. This is a very bad game to just display that for you. Let's go to one where I actually have a whole bunch of images. Let's say The Witcher 3 here. You'll see that there's this new carousel control. It will combine the videos and images into one little display. You can use your mouse to scroll over it. You can select different images here. You can use your keyboard to scroll through them. But how exactly does this look to you, the theme creator? So let's look inside of LaunchBox themes into default, and you'll see that there's a new piece of code in the game details view called controls carousel. And so all you would have to do is grab everything inside of this control, and you can place it into your own theme, just as so. Should go down to here. Now with it comes a whole bunch of properties that were made to change different colors and different things. You can see here the preview background, the item selection brush, the item mouse over brush, the item scale. All of this stuff can be as a property that you can use to adjust different colors and scaling for your carousel, depending on what your theme wants. So we tried really hard to make it sort of that flexible, but that easy to use. The rest of this stuff has to deal with the horizontal scroll bar, which is this scroll bar here, that you can colorize, change the size, all that good stuff. You could remove it if you want. Now, it's fairly flexible. The second part of this is really this new kind of, what would you call it? The achievements summary area, which has a lot more going for it than really meets the eye. It's essentially a tabbed achievements section on your game details that will have Steam, GOG, and retro achievements all within the same area that you can cycle through. We've got little tooltips to show you what these actually mean, and you can theme, fully customizable, fully themable as well. They also, you can click on them, which will open up a browser to the Steam Games Achievements section. You can click this button here, which will bring you over to the Achievements tab, which gives you a little bit more information. And if you stay there long enough, I don't know if you see, there's a little bit of an animation going on in the background. That's also themable and changeable as well. By default, if you change the size of the game details panel, you'll see that the items will come in and out of that last square here, and will fill the actual width, no matter what the size. That'll come with the achievements. You can grab all of that code and put it into your theme. Right now, it's essentially just a copy and paste. And the last thing that we did was have the ability to separate the metadata values between their header, which is genre, let's say, and the actual values, which is in this case action and role playing. And that will allow you to position them like we've positioned them here, or do whatever that you'd want with them separately, and just gives you a little more flexibility. That's essentially the three things that we've added in this default view, or in this version, different than the other version, other than the layout. Now, the rest of it is just us laying out elements in different spots using XAML, stuff that you could have already done in previous versions, like adding the background, adding achievements. Oh, there's one more thing that I forgot. We did add the ability to have a completed button, which is next to your favorite button. The rest of these three were already in the previous default, and now you just have the ability to click on it, and it's just a fast, quick launch button that you can click on to change the status of the completed field. But yeah, we've already had the ability to do tabs if you wanted to, and the rest of the elements you have the ability to use. Now, and let me actually just show you what you can do. I saw a few people have already updated their theme with some of these new elements. So I know Mr. Retrolust is either has done it or is doing it. I can't remember if Rincewind also is updating his theme, and others have as well. So it's good, definitely good to see that. So let's jump to another theme. So I'm going to be releasing this default plus, if that's what it's going to end up calling, and it's just using these same exact features in a different way. I've always said that LaunchBox is the untapped potential of themes. No one has even started to tap into what's possible in LaunchBox. Ernesto, how you doing? Lachlan, colorful 4K. Maybe you can elaborate on that. Colorful is a great theme, and the 4K videos are very nice. So this is essentially just another take on the new default that I've created. I'll probably release it as a custom theme. And the main takeaways to this theme is that I tried to just add different animation to show that it is possible to add animations to a LaunchBox theme, even though not many people do it. The first thing here is that I have a slight scaling effect when you mouse over an item. When you choose an item, in this case, you just wanted to express your love for colorful 4K. Okay. I'll pass that on to Viking. I'm sure he'll love hearing that. All right, so when we go here, you can see that there's some animations that happen when you enter into this view. Instead of having a background, I added a little banner at the top that animates. But other than that, everything is similar. I mean, I added a image here for the rating of the game. That's something that you could have done earlier, but I decided to just do that instead of representing it as another line. Just a little difference in take, and I think the takeaway of this theme is mostly that yes, LaunchBox can do animation, just that people have not done it yet. And let's just cycle through a few of these games that I hopefully have some images for. There we go. The last thing that I did want to touch on, it's not really a theme item per se, but a lot of work was done. To add MAME integration into this version of LaunchBox. I just wanted to show how quickly it would be to add LaunchBox or add MAME to your LaunchBox. Essentially, the main features are that we take care of the downloading of MAME, installing of MAME, and the configuration of MAME, which, if you're a new user, could be a bit of a pain, right? MAME won't even launch if you don't set a folder path to your ROMs. and I know a lot of people get confused on that. So I don't have an arcade area in this build, so I thought I'd show you just how easy it is to get up and running here. I'm gonna go through the MAME arcade full set importer. I'm just gonna leave it as the default name, but you could change it if you want. I'm gonna browse to my full set, which is here. You can see here it has identified that I do have a 0.238 version, but you can always just change it if you feel the version number will be used to download the correct version of MAME. It's going to give me the options on whether I want to automatically let LaunchBox download, install, and configure it on my behalf. I'm going to choose that option. You also have the old way of doing it, which is manually doing everything yourself. It will instantly do it for me right now. And so it has finished downloading MAME. It's currently extracting it to the correct folder, and it's going to configure it. And at this point, it's done. The emulator configuration, everything has been completed. Next, we added this new configuration of the ability for you to configure the LaunchBox high score leaderboards. If you weren't, there's a lot of conditions to meet. If you did not meet one of those conditions, something in this window would pop up and allow you to action it. In this case, I meet all the conditions, and now I just have to say, yes, I want it enabled. We can always download metadata from our local database, and in this case I'm not going to download any images. And I won't create playlists now, I can always do that later. I like importing all the different versions, all the different clones, and just adding them as additional versions. And I'll skip all of these types of games and just press next. It's going to parse through all of my settings, and it's just going to show me. All right, I think we're back. There was a little bit of a blip to my internet there, or something anyway. Hopefully you guys are also still there. We're just waiting for MAME to parse my full set. Now, full set is like almost 3,000 games, so we're talking, it's pretty extensive. So you can see it's done, and you can actually go through all of your games. Quite a lot. I'm going to hit finish, and you'll see at the bottom there, it's going to start importing my games. And as soon as that, in my case, blue bar, which is a themable thing that a user can, can theme, that blue bar is going to make it to the top, which means it has imported all 3,000 games. Right at that point, I can instantly play all the games. So while I'm waiting for this to download, I'll show you what happened with the emulator configuration and what exactly it did. So down here, manage emulators, you can see it added this here, MAME.238 MAME entry, and configured it already for me. So it added a whole bunch of default command lines, which includes my ROM path, which includes the keyboard D input provider, which has always been there, and a bunch of other commands that will help with the way that MAME displays your games. Hopefully it makes it a little sharper, makes things look a little better, skips some of the game info screen, stuff like that. It's automatically added arcade as the default emulator, and it's added a running script that tries to bypass any remaining screens that may pop up when you open up MAME. And so it essentially just says wait 10 seconds and then send space 3 times. You can adjust the sleep timer here to anything that you would like that would match your system, or remove this entirely if you don't really care about bypassing these nag screens. But that was done during that first step, when it downloaded and configured MAME for me. And just in case I didn't cover it, it does show you what the location of MAME is, and that's inside of your emulators folder, the same place that we would place. So internet's not doing well today, but it's keeping me connected somewhat. There are quite a few video calls happening in this same location right now, so that might be the cause. I'm not really sure. We're almost done, and I've timed this in the past. Essentially takes about 3 minutes to import all of your MAME games and get up and running and playing. And we're done. So I can go up here, and you'll see that I've actually already downloaded a bunch of images in the past and told LaunchBox not to delete them. So if I re-import, it'll just pick up those images. You'll see here that the new views, the high scores are there. I really like playing this game. I don't even know how to say it. 19XX. The War Against Destiny. But just to show that it will launch. I mean, let's just do a quick launch here. And you'll see that without any configuration or messing with anything, that's the goal of this whole new MAME integration process. Now, the last thing that we really spent a lot of time on is Oh, there it goes. So the last thing that we really spent a lot of time on was a big box feature. Let's close that. So let's jump into big box and I'll kind of show you how it works. Well, keep that going. While that happens, I'm going to try my best to add a new element here. I'm going to put my marquee screen on another monitor, and I'm going to take that monitor and I'm going to add it as a source here. Okay, so here's just a normal monitor, and down here is big box. I don't know if I'm going to fit it all, but you'll get the idea. And I guess I should add like a color in the background, shouldn't I? If there's even a way to do that. There is a way to do that. Okay. So you can kind of see the two monitors there. This one at the top is representing a marquee screen, and this one is of course big box. So let's take a look at what happens by default. So I'm going to switch to, doesn't matter really what theme I'm using. So unified CTC, which I can finally release shortly. And you can see that the marquee screen is just displaying what you would expect it to display, stretching the elements to the full size of the screen in a uniform fashion. I should go to a system where I have something to display in the marquees, so let's go to arcade. Okay, so there's the marquee screen. Basically the way that it works is that it will try to display the items. It will try to display the marquee. If it doesn't have a marquee to display, it will fall back to displaying the clear logo. If it doesn't have a clear logo and a blurred background, if it doesn't have a clear logo or a blurred background, it will fall back to displaying just the text of the game name. And you can see here it's just displaying. We've also cleaned up the marquee. It performs a bit better as well. But what is the main feature is that we have these new compatibility modes. So in options, you can go to Marquee Screen and you'll see that there's 3 modes here. The first one is to ignore the theme marquee views. What this basically means is that if you're using a theme that has its own game or platform marquee view, that could interfere with the new settings below here. And so if you wanted to guarantee that these settings would work, you have to click that. It would then ignore your theme's marquee and then fall back to using the default marquee screens or default marquee views. So let's turn that on just for this. The second one is called Stretch Marquee Image to fill the screen. All this will do is you'll see that the marquees that I had will try to uniformly stretch to the full length of your monitor, but sometimes you don't really want that, especially really skinny marquees, vertically skinny marquees. you might want the image to just stretch to your full size of your marquee. This will allow you to do that. So that's an optional setting. And then sort of like the big changes here is the screen hardware compatibility mode. So if you do have a screen, there's basically two different options, two different kinds of marquee screens that you could potentially have gotten. One is they take a regular size monitor and they physically cut that monitor into a smaller size. Windows continues to think that the full amount of the monitor has not been cut. So you basically just lose part of the screen image and you only see the part that you have left that hasn't been chopped off of your monitor. The second kind of screen is like when it's, a very skinny, marquee looking screen, but Windows thinks that it's a full size screen and just takes the full image and just compresses it down to this little tiny screen. So it looks all warped. We have compatibility modes for both. So these two, if your monitor size had squeezed down to like a third or a half, you can use these and we will attempt to automatically fix that for you. And then we have a bunch of if your monitor was chopped off at the bottom half or the top half. Let's take a look at one of them. So like let's assume that you bought a monitor and you only see the bottom 2/3, or let's say the bottom third of your screen you only have left. So you would say, well, my monitor was cut off the top 2/3 of my screen. I only see the bottom third. I would choose this option. And now, if I go to, let's go into Arcade, you'll see that on my full size screen, it's only going to use the bottom third of my monitor, right? Assuming that the top 2/3 of my monitor has been chopped away. So that's what these marquee compatibility modes will do for you. And you can kind of see, especially on this first screen, that by using uniform fill, the left and right of my marquee screen would be black. And that's what that middle section would do for you. If you go back to Marquee Screen and you click the stretch marquee images to fill the screen, it will just take whatever the marquee image would be, not the clear logo, not the background or whatever, just that marquee image. And it will stretch it to fill the screen. And now you'll see that it's filled the bottom third of my screen, just as I told it to. And Kevin McKeever, you've been really helpful sorting out PlayStation 2 and 3 and GameCube emulation, especially with LaunchBox. Well, hopefully you're having fun with those emulators, and glad you could at least have some fun with them. That's for sure. And Des, I believe you're saying hello. You're watching the stream from France. Oh, that's nice. Hopefully it's not too late from where you are, and thank you for joining, Des. Oh. So you can see just with this, this might be the monitor, the marquee monitor situation that you have, or you may have it that it was cut off the top portion. So you would go back into the marquee screen and you would choose, okay, well, the bottom 2/3 were cut off of my monitor. And now you'll see that LaunchBox will instantly conform and say, okay, just display images here at the top now of my monitor. And that's what those new compatibility modes will do. This will not solve, if you've already have a solution, you've already decided, this just stops you from having to go into the XAML file itself and changing the code and basically needing to tell people if you want to use your monitor, you got to dive into the code and make these changes. This will help those people out. They can just change some values. If you've already found a solution, just leave these settings off and you should be okay. And that's coming in 12.7 next week. So let's turn that off. Let's get back to the main changes here. We'll get rid of this one here, and we'll stretch this guy back out. All right. With all of these changes, I know Dave has been working tirelessly on a new version of the Community Theme Creator, and he dropped it, I think, on Wednesday. Correct me if I'm wrong there, if you're still there, Dave. But I'm pretty sure he dropped it on Wednesday. You can go and you can download it from the forums. Now, it will only work on one of the betas, like beta 4, 12.7, beta 4, and above. It's really meant for people that are on LaunchBox 12.7 or above. And there's a lot of great features, a lot of tweaks, a lot of under the hood changes to try to make the theme creator work and function more like Big Box. A lot of additions that I've definitely been waiting for: compatibility with more images, videos, video files, all of that stuff. He just like expanded that. Music files, music support, audio file support. Lots of stuff has come from months of work from Dave, and I'll show off some of the main features that ended up with this version. So let's jump in to one of these. I'll just create a new theme. Or Dave did send me this video test, and I'll kind of show you first what exactly this is doing. It just looks like a giant video right now, but if I change the game, what's happening here is that first it's starting off in this little box with stuff over it, and then it will instantly come and make it full screen. The main feature, at least theming feature, is how about if you wanted to have your video behind like a frame here, but then after a specific amount of seconds, animate it out of that frame? How would you do that? Well, before 2.3, you couldn't do that. Now you can, with the ability to change your Z order through animation. I believe you added it to the canvas here, and you'll see this new area called Z order. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So it's saying at 5 seconds, animate the Z order from whatever the current Z order was to above UI element. So I'm assuming above UI element means you jump it to the top, or you jump it over the UI element that it's currently in. Maybe Dave can shed some light on that, but it basically means it's going to change the layer order. In XAML, it is called Z order. In this case, what it's saying is, I'm going to take this element and I'm going to move it, above this canvas. Maybe all the way to the top. We'll see. Through animation. So you get to say at 5 seconds, move it to the top of the pack here in this layer, which is really cool new feature. And Nick, hi from the UK. Is it possible to put high scores on the marquee? I don't think natively you can do that, but I have heard of someone that did do that. So I'll have to get back to you on that one. Through theming, you can, let's say, somewhat, potentially requiring a plugin. Okay, so it's above or below this selected element. So one above, one below. I'm assuming that's what you mean, Dave, but that makes sense. The other change that he made, and maybe I'll just stay in this test theme, he made the ability to add more than one video source and the ability to condition the video source. So let's see, what does that mean? Let's say the selected item video element. So let's create one, bring it in view. I do believe that there's a new video mirror item, user defined video mirror item. So in this case, we're just using video mirror. Let's see what happens. So we've got the video mirror element, and we're going to link it to the selected item video. And now we've got two videos going. Pretty cool. And you should be able to do something like flip vertically. And you can play around with this. We can change the angle of it, or you can change the skew of it. Something like that. And then you can scale it down. You know, gives you some flexibility. You know, give a reflective surface, and then you can use an image opacity mask, if you have one, to sort of soften the edges, if you may. I can bring down the opacity so that it makes it look like a reflection. So that's what that's about. You can add more than one video mirror, I'm assuming. Let's try to add a second one. Let's copy and paste this one. So here's another one. Unflip it so it's at the top. You know, gives you that flexibility to do some cool stuff. I would say the more elements, I mean, this is not just for videos, but the more elements you add, just got to remember to try to balance out the amount of elements that you have with what a computer can handle performance wise. The more elements, the more performance obviously is going to consume. So definitely use it to good effect. Use it to enhance your theme. Now, I believe those are the two major features. There's a lot of other features that he added, a lot of little tweaks, and the major stuff was under the hood changes to allow the text lists to function. Yeah, that's right, Dave. Use it, but not abuse it. There's the text lists now look almost identical, if not identical in every way, to what it would look like in Big Box right now. Davey Retro Gamer, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a good Friday. Glad you could make it in. And for that, I can just go in here. There was always some difference with the way that the text list would look in the community theme creator than it would look in Big Box, just like slight differences, which could potentially have caused the text to not, like if you were trying to only display a specific amount of items, that same amount of items wouldn't transfer exactly perfectly to Big Box. You would see more or less. I can't remember which one it was. Now it should be identical, right? He really, the main changes I'd like to focus on, because I felt like they were huge, which was the text list. Let's bring up a text list. Let's change the font. Doesn't matter what font. And let's say you wanted to add Oh, you added the border one. Preset 9 was added, which added the code, which you can view here using this stroke dash cap to the border. But let's just say you wanted to add before. I'm going to use preset 8 and create my own preset here. So I'm just going to say this is text list 1. And I add a border with a corner radius of 25. What does that look like? I'm going to have to add a color to this one. Border brush, and we'll just give it some value. And then here, we'll save that out. Then we'll give it an actual background of the selected item. Something distinguishable. And Gautami Rajendra, welcome in. Hope you're doing well today. Davey Retro Gamer, you were the gameplay king. Yes. You keep changing your name, eh? Hopefully you're doing good. But you can see here that before the changes, if you're using the Community Theme Creator 2.2, by doing this, you would have noticed that the right side of the text list would have been chopped off. And now we don't have that problem. You can display any all the way to the end. The items on the right side will not get chopped off like it was before. If you had that problem, is now fixed. And then he added this margin area. And what this margin area will allow you to do is basically create padding around the text, allowing you to space out your list, giving you the flexibility to do giant lists if you really wanted to. Like, let's say I wanted to do something really giant like this, and then add, 10 margin on either side. Now you can. I can go further. Create like really large lists, and you kind of saw me do this a few weeks ago when I was trying to do my Coverbox Wii and Wii U themes, which required me to do something like this, and now you can with these changes, which is just great. It gives you a little more flexibility, gives you more control over your text list. You know that you will see, if I went here and I want to see 3 items on the top and bottom, and I'm going to position this over on this side, you know that what you're seeing in the Community Theme Creator is exactly what you'll see in Big Box. So it really helps there. And I know the next step that Dave will be trying to do is do the same sort of thing for wheel views, for like the wheel 1 to 4 views, I would say, to just give you that ability to see what you are doing, so that you are fairly confident that what you're doing in the theme creator will transfer over to Big Box. Give you that visual cue. And I believe he announced that will be what will happen for 2.4. All right. And saying all that, I don't know if I'm missing anything, Dave, but what I wanted to show you guys next was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, hopefully I said 2.4 and didn't mess that up like I did with the LaunchBox version. I believe it was 2 weeks ago where I just I know that I had to work on Coverbox, and it's taken me months and months and months to sort of get this thing ported over, maybe even longer. And what people don't realize is just how extensive Coverbox is. Looks like a fairly simple theme, but it has, I believe, about 40 different. It's like 40 different themes in one. So in order to get that transferred over, it's just an insurmountable mountain to climb. But I really wanted to do it, and so I've been working off hours, weekends, as best as I can to port this thing over for you guys. And I got really close. Now, I sound closer than I am. I'm at now 39 themes in. I ported 39 themes. I got 39 themes in this Coverbox port. Unfortunately, I've added about 8 to 10 new ones, which means I'm still about 10 away or 12 away from finishing this theme. I'm hoping, depending on the amount of time that I have, that I could finally finish Coverbox. But what I wanted to show you guys was some of the new themes. And then I wanted to work a little bit on these themes as much as my connection allows for, so that I can get just a little bit closer to finishing. If I click down here on the community theme creator, you'll see, look at how many that I've done. Just an insane, every little icon there is one theme complete. Hey Jay, hopefully you're doing good today. So you can see here, I went through all of the Atari ones. I believe I got them all covered. Well, they're all seeming to be functioning pretty well. I went through all of the Nintendo ones, I think, at this point that I've had created in the past. This theme, this new version will have a Switch theme. I went and I added a Microsoft Xbox theme. Now, the main thing about the Microsoft Xbox one, and something that you'll notice, is that there's this giant white area, and that's essentially, I'm doing stuff in this version of the theme that the community theme creator can't read, so I had to turn off the theming here. But what that should look like, and the reason why, is because the list box allows you to add, a ton of stuff. You can add other metadata if you want into this list box. You can make this, like we already know, we can make the list box really big. You can add images, other images to it in different spots. And that's essentially what I did. I added two images into this list box, and the current version of the community theme creator can't read those yet. But I thought, just so that you guys know that it can be done, I'll show you exactly what I did here. And that's down here in the wheel, I created a new Microsoft Xbox UI style source. And inside of here, I've basically added an image here that says, display this image. It's not that you haven't done it, it's that I'm trying to do something that you haven't thought of even adding to the CTC. And that's just image support inside of the wheels, the text list wheels, sorry. So you see here, I say, okay, look inside of this folder and display this image called Microsoft Xbox not selected. And then the condition down here is basically saying, if Yeah, it's this one here. If the item is selected but it's not been activated yet, display this image here, which is the selected image. And the result of that is essentially, let's see if I have it open. Jay, you're doing good today? That's good to hear. All right. So I'm going to jump. Let's turn off the marquee screen. Let's jump to this cover box. Now I gave it the name Coverbox 3 just so that I have something different to the current Coverbox theme. Let's go to Microsoft Xbox, and that's what it should look like. So this is what it looks like inside of Big Box. And you can see that it's essentially just an image in the background, like I said, saying display this image on every single item. But on the selected item, switch out that image to this sort of more greenish, yellowy one. All right. Let's try and work on a few more of these themes. Gone ahead and ported over the Sega Genesis one, and I've also done a number of other Sega systems, but I haven't finished the Sega system, so I thought I'd do a couple more. You can see here this the Sega Genesis one looks similar to the way that it was before. Displays the clear logo, displays the play mode, or max player in this case, and has the items on the side here. I'm going to try to finish 2 more Sega ones on this stream. Let's do that. First, which ones should I do? I've done the Sega Genesis, and there's a number of them that look very similar because they have the same sort of box design through its life cycle, including this one, including Sega Saturn. I don't know if I finished Sega Saturn. Okay, so I did. Sega Saturn has a very similar design. Sega CD has a very similar design. Sega 32X has a similar design. And of course, Sega Game Gear also should have a very similar design. It's just purple. I haven't really looked at that yet, though. So let's see what I would want to do. So let's assume I'm going to take a Sega Genesis version, and I'll use it as a template for a Sega Game Gear. All right. So we're in a Sega Game Gear game. What's a good Sega Game Gear game? I don't know. Let's just go with one of the Sonic games. Always love seeing what they could do in a portable version of Sonic 2. I did not realize they had a Sonic racing game on the Sega Game Gear. That's interesting. But of course, this isn't the Sega Genesis, so let's take a look at what we can do to remove all of the Sega Genesis stuff and import all of the Sega Game Gear stuff. Let's remove that so we can get our list going again. All right. So I know that I need a logo and that the media folder's logos are here inside a folder called logos. I know that I have my old Coverbox images somewhere here. Yeah, so they are in here. And there should be one for Sega Game Gear. It's just 2 images. Here's one. The logo. And I'll call this one Sega Game Gear. And then I've got another folder called backgrounds, which I'm putting this stuff in there. And I'll just call this Sega Game Gear view. I hope that's enough. Let's find out. I'll bring up a source image just so that I can remind myself what exactly this should look like. Yeah, okay. Not a big deal, okay. So hopefully this is not too bad of one. So logo, switch to Sega Game Gear. This is for the splash screen. The background, switch to Sega Game Gear. And we should be pretty good there, right? So we've got the purple going, but there are a few differences that I do need to adjust. The first one is that there's a selected item video, but there's a frame around that video. That's currently red, switching it to that purple color. There we go. Second thing is this border here, which is here. There is a frame, and that frame does have a linear gradient going across from left to right. The color is not quite the color that it needs to be. So let's grab what that color should be, and we will adjust it on either side. That might be enough. Okay, that looks better. There's a little shine in the middle there. And the last thing that I actually don't remember, and I might need to jump into the themes files. Sega Game Gear. All right, so here's the files. First thing I want to make sure is that I do have the right font. Yeah, got the right font. Second thing is I want to make sure that I did grab the right color. So that's the color that I use. Let's just make sure it's the same. I'm guessing it is, but it's good to be sure. Yeah, it looks right. Ooh, I really went dark with this one. Okay, that's fine. And the way that I've decided to do the play mode or max players options, which I might regret, but for now I haven't, is to go into maximum players. I'm going to take a copy of Sega Genesis and I'm going to call this Sega Game Gear. And that should be enough. So it should automatically be trying to grab images from that folder. All right. I think we're done the easy one. The one where I basically did all the work and needed to just change some of the styling and some of the images. Let's go with a much, much harder one, and that is the Sega Mark III. Not sure how many people actually would have had a Sega Mark III since it was a Japanese only console. And it's the Japanese version of the Sega Master System with a bunch of different games and different versions of the same games that came to North America. But they had really, really cool box art that I wish that we had here. And so let's take a look. I don't know if people know what the box art looks like for the Sega Mega or the Sega Mark III. But let's take a look at what it looks like. And back in the day, I tried to represent, this is Coverbox, so I tried to take the cover. Actually, it is metadata, and we're going to go box, game box, front. They had these gold cartridges boxes with this really cool. I believe this represented the size of the cart. And every single game had a version of this kind of box. It was actually really nice. Really cool to see. So if you do have this system in your collection, and you have all these kind of boxes, yeah, I really went crazy with the look of the cover box. Really tried to match it. Now, I don't really remember exactly what I did. Let's find out. I'm going to go here and I'm going to see if I can find it in this mess. There it is. I feel like I changed this. I kind of removed this because it's just sort of sitting in the middle of nowhere. But everything else I should be able to do. Yeah, it should be okay. Got this. I almost feel like this image changes depending on the player instead of it representing the item. It just represents either one or two players. And then the name of the game. So let's see if I can actually remember what I did here. That's going to be the hardest part here, I think, is remembering what I did. Let's close this. Just open the full theme up. Let's close some of these off and clean it up. And we're going to open up two files. And Dave, do you like the performance of 2.3? I personally love the performance. I mean, anything to do with performance helps greatly. And before, if you had a heavy a theme that uses a lot of elements, it really could bog down the community theme creator. Yeah, definitely much better now. I'm going to try to find the Mark III version of, this is the text games view, and the Mark III version of the text list which houses the styling for the text lists, right? And they're called the same thing, so it's kind of confusing sometimes, but let's take a look. I need an industrial Gothic single, whatever ST standard something stands for. Let's see if I actually have that font. That'll be the first step here. So I'm going to go down here. And we're going to take a look at, it was Industrial Gothic. I do not. So let's see if I can quickly get that for us. I said that it was Industrial Gothic single. All right, pretty standard stuff here. There it is. Well, here it not is. Very close. Okay. Ooh, this one's also extremely close. Okay, somehow. Okay, where did I put this? Components. I might be able to find that now, actually. I've got my old folder access, I think. No, I don't. All right, so I will find the font, but let's start with the easier stuff, which is trying to get through what exactly I did here. Let's see if I have any images that could pertain to what I need. I'm going to jump over to Sega Mark III's theme files. Do I even have any? No, wait. There we go. Sega Mark III. So I do have two. I have a logo and I have the background, just like with Sega Game Gear. So I'll put the logo here, or sorry, the background here. Ooh, where did that jump to? It's odd. There we go. Retro Pops, welcome in. Hopefully you're doing well today. Happy Friday. We are currently trying to get through some more Coverbox themes. And we went through all the new cool features that you can play around with in LaunchBox 12.7, which is coming in next week, and the Community Theme Creator 2.3, which is out now. I am doing great. Thank you for asking. It's always a great time when I can pop open the stream and stream for you guys. Sega Mark III. So that should solve the problem here of at least the splash screen's clear logo and the background. So that'll give us a start here. And the exercise that I'm doing here will basically show people if they did see a theme that's not in the Community Theme Creator and they're wanting to port it over, what exactly does that take? And just by watching what I'm doing here, gives you an idea of what that actually takes. Not as straightforward as one might believe, but it can be done. Definitely can be done with enough work and determination. Okay, so the rest of this theme, actually, there might be some logos. So let's Sega Mark III Play Mode logos, maybe? Yeah. Okay, so I was right that there's like a 1 and a 2 for Sega Mark III. I'm going to grab them, place them in my Maximum Players folder, and that will help me there. Other than that, I think everything else is just XAML. So let's jump back in to the community theme creator. It's just going to be a design changes that I'm going to have to make here based off of this image here. So if I'm looking here, I know that I seem to have the game text. I've got a few, the star rating. I've got, looks like genre and the release date. The text list is here. Looks like I created a border on the left side and made it really big. I think that's what's happening here. I'll have to confirm. I'll have to play around with that. And then here's just the text styling. I'm going to remove this. I don't think this is in the regular theme. We do have a clear logo, and then we do have that play mode section. The video is being displayed in the background along with a text kind of marquee just scrolling from the right side here. Okay. I think I have that in my mind now. So let's go back here and let's see what we can do. First thing is this selected item video doesn't need to be inside of here and needs to actually be behind. And I can just tell it to not auto size anymore. And we'll roughly position it for now. How large is this? Not off the screen large, so I can do that. And we'll place it here for now. Okay. So we've got the video sort of in place. The next item here is really the text scroller. The text scroller also needs to be behind the background. Oh. And it looks like I have a grid that will also act as its background as well. There we go. The rest of this stuff I can remove. I don't need any of it. Actually, I do need these scan lines, don't I? All right, that looks good. Move this over. We'll position this in a place that makes sense. You can only see it from here to here, so there we go. The selected item video. Let's get rid of this because that's a giant black hole in our theme. There we go. Okay. Now we realize we can go from here to here. Everything looks much better. All right, might as well position the logo here that I found. And I'm going to bring this up. There we go. I can use the new, and this is something that I didn't talk about, but I'm sure Dave, you'll be happy. I'm going to scroll right in holding control and doing the mouse wheel. And now I can really, with precision, position these items. There we go. Bring that in a little more. I like that. And that one's already pretty good. So let's zoom back out. And of course, this is our maximum player icon. This is telling us that this game is 2 players. And that if you see the 1, that's 1 player. I'm going to move the list here over here. Yeah, thank you, Dave. Everybody thank Dave for that feature. So now you spent quite a few days on that one. Okay. So it's cool that we have all these elements already on the screen from the Sega Genesis, and that's what's great about starting a theme off with already another view, just copying from another view with a bunch of theme elements already there. Although it's not too hard to just create it yourself. All right, so we'll do something like this to cover this space for now. We do have some of these actually are already in here. So I said we needed the star rating, we needed the genre, and then the release year. I believe that's what I said. Let's take a look. Star rating, genre, release year. It all looks like a stack positioned right aligned. So let's do that. We already have all the elements. I already have a stack here. So let's bring that out of whatever canvas it currently is in, because I don't need that. We'll add the star rating to it. Okay. We'll need to set a height. So maybe this is probably needing to be smaller. Position it to the right. We'll take the stack and we'll position everything in the stack to the right. I don't know if I need this to be positioned. Yeah, I do. So the view boxes will be positioned to the right. And that means I can get rid of this canvas, no longer need it. And this stack, which was full screen before, can be switched to just a height and width. So I'm just going to put something small for now. Now I can adjust it. I'm going to remove the developer. And I'll bring that down to about here. Okay, so it's basically what we have. Now let's try to make it look the way that it looked. Now for that, I'm going to have to find out exactly what font that was used. So I'll go here, I'll look up genre string, which genres string. And it's saying that I just use Garamond book font. Now if that's a font that comes with the computer, let's find out. Come on, book. No book. Got bold, regular. What does regular look like? Looks okay, a little skinny, but that's what bold is for. A little thick. Not quite the way that this font looked. So let me hope that this one's not as hard to get as the other one. Perfect. Looks great. I will have to save out. All right, we can see the splash screen. Looks all right. Oh, is that what you were talking about before, Jay? I don't know if you're still around. You saw the visual pinball icon. I needed to find out what it would take to run visual pinball. I've never done it before. And asked around, got some help. And, while it's not that difficult, it's definitely one of those scenes that takes a while to get into. Sega Mark III. Okay, so we're going back. We should have a solution for this here. So we got the right font now. Of course, I chose Georgia Bold. There we go. That looks a lot better. Garamond book. And I'm just going to check the size. It might be the height. They're in view boxes. So they both need to be. Yeah, they seem to be. Let me just double check in the picture, and we're just going to get it an approximate size with the approximate. So here what I'm going to do is I'm trying to switch everything to the star rating white, and then if I needed to color it, I would color it. So in this case, this kind of off yellow, dirty yellow, and we're going to apply the opacity mask. There we go. I believe that the release date looks just a tad too large. So I'm going to reduce this a little bit. Okay. What we're going to do here is we're going to make the star rating, which should always be there. We're going to add a margin to the bottom of like 10. And then the release date, which also should always be there, we're going to add a margin of 10 as well. Genres, I'm going to actually put unknown genre. But I don't think that will ever be used as long as you've downloaded the games from the games database or imported them and scraped the games database. And the last thing to do is to change the colors. So we're going to change the color here to the same color we applied to the star rating, and that will give some sort of uniformity to that top section. And I think we're good. I do see that we have some more padding around this sort of background bordered area. Overall, I think we pretty much did what we set out to do there. All right, last, the hardest part, the wheel. The wheel has a bunch of things going on for it. The first thing is I do need to choose this color for the actual wheel items. I do need to choose this color for the selected item. All right, so far so good. And now we do need to have a special Sega Mark III. I can't remember what. Yeah, that should be okay. I'll just do that. And we're going to start this as our canvas before anything else. So the first thing I notice is that we will need border thickness and quite a bit of it on the left side. So I'm going to say left side, but make the rest of the side 0. What else do we got? And for the color of the border brush, so property border brush, and for the value of that, we will need to have that red in there. I think I've got to put this as transparent. Could be wrong. So I got thickness and the border brush on this border. All right, what I'll do here is I'm going to set the index, which I can't see, but I know that I need. The selected index is going to be the same color. The selected or just the unselected index will be the blue color. I'll have to double check whether that actually is going to work. I might change this to white. But for now, that's what I'll do. And I'll take one more pass at trying to get the industrial Gothic single font. I'm sure I got it from somewhere very, very long time ago. Not quite. Maybe I did something similar to the font, but it looks like this font doesn't actually have the right stuff going on with it. There's one that's very, very similar that I can use just for this demonstration. Let's do that. I'll download this one because this is very similar. Just has some issues with, although I can actually solve those issues with the community theme creator. So I'll save this out. I'm going to go, now that I installed the font, you have to restart the program. So I restarted the program. Jump back to the Sega Mark III. Go to Wheel, and we're going to set the font to this new industrial font. And I could keep it if I just say all lowercase. There we go. There's a nice workaround there. Do you want the font size to be much larger? And we don't really want that much margin between the items. Maybe almost nothing. Yeah, that looks better. I also want to make the font even bigger than this. Okay, maybe that's too big. Maybe just 60. So I think that looks good. I will have to see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. We do want an odd number so that there is a center to this. So that gives us our odd number. I'll place this here in that perfect spot between just off of this. This does kind of look like that red. I might change that to the original theme. So I might do something like this, where the selected item background. Okay, that actually does look a bit better. Though while I wish I could control this side, I mean that's a good trade-off, I think. One thing that I do notice is that there probably needs to be a little more margin at the top here to center it out. All the way to 5, I think, is good. And that brings out this a bit. So I'm going to bring this up just slightly. And we'll leave it at that for now. I might change that or decide against that later. But overall, it actually looks not too bad. Maybe I can stretch this out to here to match what's going on here. I can always zoom in, get that a little closer. And it matches the top, matches the bottom, and it tells you which item is selected. The last little bit is actually going to be the most complicated, I think. Okay, so we don't have ESRB. This was in a world before that. Everything else we do have. The last thing we do want to do is bring in the game title. And that game title is going to sit at the top there. And it's going to have to be pretty big font. So here, game, switch to that industrial font. We're going to have to text to all lowercase. We're going to switch to this color, this red color. And this is step 1. I almost wonder if that's a different color than this one. Much better. So we're going to go out to about, say, here. Actually, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this in sort of let's see if I can figure this out. I'm going to create a grid. Oh, where's my stuff? Okay. That grid is going to have this blue color as its background. I'm going to position this blue color just like so. I'll use the zoom so that I can kind of match what I need to match here. Okay. I'm going to have a stack. It doesn't necessarily need to be a stack, I guess. And I'm going to place that inside of the grid. And I'm going to make the background the same color as the background. All right, I'm going to switch this over to a canvas maybe. There we go. Putting this inside. Let's remove the stack. There might be an issue with the stack's background. Oh, that's odd. No, it's not odd. Okay, so let's just, there we go. Realizing canvases don't have the exact thing that I need. So I'm going to switch over to another grid. So grid inside of a grid. The height is going to have to be exactly the same. $188.40. Of course, it doesn't like that because it's currently outside of its contents. So let's make it smaller. There we go. 188.40. Still doesn't like that. How about just 188? That seemed fine. Let me take off the lock to canvas because I do want it to be outside of its canvas so that I don't get any bleeding of the background. The first grid. And I'm going to do a Y position or an X position of like -5, Y position of -2. We'll jump this up to 190. Oh, come on. I did just turn off lock to canvas. I did. Okay. Should be able to make it bigger. Well, at least it allows me to make it the same size. Now I'm realizing what I really needed was a canvas as the root. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here and see if it has the items that I really need. So the first item is grabbing this color. Second item is here. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So the reason why that wasn't working is that the grid can only get as large as its root. So like anything inside of a grid can only get as large as a root, let's say. It wasn't allowing me to get a larger height vertically than whatever the root grid was. But a canvas doesn't have that restriction. So far so good. I want that height to remain static, but I do want the width to be auto-sized. So I'm going to click auto size and I'm going to stick the game title inside of that. I guess I could also use the border. We need this to be larger. Let's bring this up so that I know that it's actually still somewhere. There you are. Okay, so you are there. I want you to auto size to yourself. There we go. We're centering this text out, but I would like to make it larger, I think. Maybe too much, so okay, that's much better. Let's put a margin on this side of maybe 15. Will that even move it? Might not even actually move it. I think we pretty much have what we want. Just going to double check I have all the settings here correct. But overall, I think this is very interesting that I managed to get it started to work here. One thing that I do want to do is get the game title to do a little animation bounce. So I'm going to do 3 animations. I'm going to basically say scale width. I just want it to be 100% when the item loads. Hey Riaz, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well today. You haven't been able to join the live stream since early December, but I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year and you're still loving LaunchBox. It's Friday at 8:20 p.m. Oh, you got 11 days off. Isn't that the best feeling? Just before a holiday. That Friday, just after work. That is a great feeling. So now I want when I select it, what do I want to have happen? Actually, let's do it backwards. During selection, I do want it actually don't want it to do anything during selection. Once selected though, I do want it to do something. And I do want to take whatever the width was and reduce it to, let's say, 0, and then go up to 110. Let's do 110 and have that duration like 0.25. We'll ease out. And then at 0.25, I also want to scale it back to 100 and have that duration just 0.1. And let's try not to do any easing and see what happens. That might be too fast. Let's see. All right, first I need to change the point of origin to the left-hand side because I want it to come out from the left. Yeah, it's too fast. But let's put it at 0.4. So we'll start this at 0.4 and we'll bounce it back at a point, how about 0.15? Nice. Okay. So what I'm realizing is that, okay, that this is the right animation, but I do want it to be put on the grid instead of the game. So we're going to delete it from the actual game. And now when we switch items, you can see that it kind of gets rid of that blue bar as it's going. All right, so at this point, I do need to add some trimming because I don't really want it to be going past that. We could change this to a scroll. Let's see what that would look like. So we'll get a text scroller going, and I can basically put it in the same area here. We'll get rid of the background. We'll copy as much stuff over as we can. So thank you so much, Dave, for adding the ability to copy the text properties. Let's copy the layout. And now all I have to do is set the metadata. So let's set the metadata here to game. And then we'll go up and set that we want a horizontal orientation. I'm going to mute this so that we can see what we got here. We will need a width here, and I think that might be the issue that we're going to have. Okay. Yeah, that restriction, I don't think that I can get over that restriction. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Okay, but that's okay. This should be fine. This is just for show anyway, this text. And what we'll do is try to find a game that's really long, like Fantasy Zone 2. And we'll see what's going on with that. Okay, so there is no it just keeps going because there's no max size here. So I do need a max width here of whatever this canvas size is, maybe a bit smaller. We'll say don't ever get bigger than this size, please. Oh, because I did a word. Well, let's just get rid of that for now. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's do 1380. Won't ever get larger than that. And now let's add a character trimming, ellipsis there. There we go. We have that little blue that will remain there if we need. But other than that, if we select a different game that doesn't need it, it will fill the size. Okay, I think we're doing good. Let me check one more thing. Yeah, I think we are good. All right, let's save that out. And other than a few tweaks here and there that I'll probably have to do, I think that we managed to complete 2 more themes for the cover box, which brings our total up to, I believe, 41 different themes. And that should reduce the amount of work that I have to do on some of these other ones. We'll have to get the arcade one there. I can see the Sega Master System needs to be converted. The SNK ones, AES and CD, need to be converted. WonderSwan Color, I feel like I need to do that one too. And there's got to be more than I see here, so I'll probably have to add some systems to my themer build just to see it in the community theme creator. But other than that, yeah, it's 2 more down, like 8 more to go, 8 to 10 more to go, and then I'll finally be able to release the Coverbox version, get that out of the way, which will include a whole new set of themes to it, and will allow you guys to edit it within the community theme creator. So yeah, Riaz, hopefully you have a great next 11 days off. That sounds wonderful. And we'll see you guys in the next episode, in the next stream. So take care, everybody. We'll see you later.